Welcome back, friends, to our fairy tale investigations. And we left off the other day reading The Three Billy Goats Gruff. And we were focusing on the scenes of that fairy tale and thinking about what scenes were there. And so I thought we would take a moment just to fill in our chart that we had started with the three tales we've been working with. And if I think of scene 1 of Three Billy Goats Gruff, we have the Rocky Mountainside. And this is where we get to know the characters. We saw them eating a little bit, but really longing for that green pasture on the other side of the valley. And then, so this is kind of where we get the first setting and characters. And then in scene 2, the setting changes and the action changes. And this setting becomes about the bridge and all about the troll not letting the goats cross. So this scene is also where we get the problem. Those goats can't get across the bridge. And the bridge comes back with the first goat and the second goat and the third goat. But they're all really still working on the same problem. And then finally, when the setting changes again to the green pasture on the other side of the bridge, this is the next scene. And this is where it's all resolved and they all live happily ever after. So those were the three scenes in The Three Billy Goats Gruff. Now, in our Edpuzzle the other day, I went through and I pulled out all the pieces of the big events that happened, and we can kind of see that we can even break the plot up into three scenes as well, where we have scene 1, where we get to know those characters, and scene 2 is all about bridge, and scene 3 is the other side of the valley. Now, a couple of the themes that come out of this are our classic good triumphs over evil, or maybe be a little persevering and do what you need to do to get over the obstacles in your path. And something else that came up was about how that troll was greedy. And he wanted a bigger one, a bigger goat and a bigger goat. And they used that against him to get across. So in our organizer today, we're going to think about our own versions. And I'm going to give you a little bit more information about scene 1, scene 2, and scene 3, so that you can then add in your own pieces and make it match up. Something that we're going to pay attention to today is what fairy tale authors often do, and it is called adding a refrain into the text. And it's something that repeats itself. And so if you think of your favorite song, it probably has the same lyrics that come back and come back. And our fairy tales have the same thing. So, fee, fi, fo, fum is not a fairy tale we've read, but that comes from Jack and the Beanstalk. And oh, I bet you know this one. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. That's the Three Little Pigs. And let's think back to Cinderella. Cinderella, in our versions, didn't really have a refrain, but if I think of the Disney version, there's the like bibbidi bobbidi boo, and it's like the magic refrain that keeps coming back. And if I think of Little Red Riding Hood, it's all about the why, what big ears you have, all the better to hear you. Oh, why Grandma, what big eyes you have, all the better to see you. It's the repeating phrases. And in Billy Goat's Gruff, we just have this tiny little trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, and each goat adds in a little bit more of a trip, trap. And so as we read today, we're going to see if the book version we're reading today has a refrain. But something to just store in the back of your mind when you write a fairy tale, what words might you repeat over and over again to stick with your reader? Today, we are going to be reading The Three Bully Goats. Now, it sounds very much like Billy Goats, but it obviously has a different meaning. And I am guessing that this author might have changed this version maybe to talk about bullying, because we talk about bullying a lot in school. And so my guess is maybe the author wanted a story to address a big topic like bullying. That's my guess at why this author might have changed the original version. And as I think about characteristics of bullies, they're mean, they are standing up to people. There's a lot of things that maybe we might want to make sure that those character traits are going to get those goats into trouble somehow. And I'm wondering if this ending helps solve the character's big problem. Kind of like Ninja Red Riding Hood, that wolf that could not get any food and then finally became a vegetarian and found some peace. And all of those character traits got solved by the end. So today we have a big task. We are looking at the scenes. We are looking for refrains. We are figuring out how character traits play into the plot and the big problem, and does it get solved at the end of the story? We have a big task today, but I think you're going to enjoy our story. So find your comfy spot and get ready to listen for the three bully goats.